Hey, soul survivors, with the weekend coming up, I wanted to talk to you about custody exchanges going bad, what to do about them, what our rights are, how to handle it. I currently have a friend who's in a situation right now, Halloween weekend. He's looking forward to seeing his son. It's the first time that his ex has kept the child from him on the weekends. So they've had some issues back and forth. They've been apart for about a year. And so he's saying, this is my time, and she's not releasing him. And she's trying to control him. There's some certain things that she wants. And he says something about $100. So I'm not sure about bribes or whatever's going on. But if you're dealing with a narcissistic person, they can purposely try to ruin your plans. It's a way of punishment, revenge, all these kind of different things. Now, when people are in a triggered state, and that can happen at the end of a relationship, that sometimes people act out of character, they act out of anger, they get into their emotions. And so he seems like a good dad. I know him somewhat, really likes spending time. And from what I've seen, he's a good dad. So it's kind of sad, it's going to let that child down, because the child looks forward to seeing the other parent. So now that kid could have some abandonment issues, but how does he handle it? Now she is saying he is harassing her. So he may be able to ask the cops to be there. He should have his court order with him showing that he has custody time. However, it is not seen as a criminal thing. It's a civil situation. So the cops can only handle it so much. They will tell him that he needs to take it to court. And that's where we start getting frustrated, is if you're feeling, this is my weekend, I've had it planned, it's a holiday, this is my child, I don't want them to feel I'm not picking them up, that I'm purposely abandoning them, that we get into our emotions, because it is really emotional. And we have to think about it logically. I don't want you locked up, because he could turn it into a criminal situation. So right now it's at the civil level. She should release him, the son, but she's not. But that's a matter for civil courts. Now, harassment is a criminal charge. So unfortunately, you just need to tell the person one time to leave you alone. Now, there are some things in court orders for certain communication, things like that. You can't disparage the other parent. So everybody's court order is going to be different. Also depends, I'm in Michigan, depends on what state, county, all that, that you went through for your paperwork. But if he continues being frustrated and trying to, explain his case to her, like, please, it's my weekend, but I bought him Halloween stuff and this and that. And it's just building a case up against him. And this is where it gets really sad, because he just wants to see his kid. He just wants what the court order says. But she could use that against him. And like I said, it can turn into a criminal situation. And hopefully, that it won't stir up too many emotions to where it might get physical, or things might get broken, vandalism, mayhem, all this kind of stuff that could happen when people get into their emotions. So what we need to do during this situation is stay thinking logically. We have to know that it could build a case against us based on the way we react. If we react with our emotions, we can be seen as unstable, irrational, and a detriment to the child. Because, if she wanted to build a case against him, saying he doesn't, that he's harassing her and whatever else comes after that. So if you are in this type of situation, first thing to do is to make sure, as much as you can, have that outlined in the court order. Now, he may be able to preferably call non-emergency, ask the police to be there as a peacekeeper or the sheriff's department, and have that paperwork with him, present it. So maybe she will feel some pressure with the cops standing there, the court order right there. Not everybody knows what the law is, or they feel there's now people watching and they might do the right thing, but definitely be really cautious whenever you react in your emotions, because he could use this time to build up a case against her. He can say she denied my parenting time. There can be fines for that. You know, and depending on where you are, there could be other repercussions, but it's a civil matter. And document everything, take down dates, times, whatever kind of information you can add to it, but keep those meticulous, and don't give the opposing party the ammunition to attack you. So if you can stay calm, cool, follow the rules and the orders, you can say, look, I showed up. It was my parenting time. She wouldn't release him. So she's the one who is acting wrong. If you start acting within your emotions, you're also acting wrong. So they're going to have to decide, what do we do about this with two people acting wrong, as opposed to keep yourself in a good light. When you're in a good light, they're more willing to work with you. But I just really need to reiterate that it can turn into a criminal charge. You don't want to face jail time, costs, attorney fees. And, you know, look at this lady right here, locked away, that, you know, it's a weekend, but we don't want to go away for 90 days or up to 120, or even risk, you know, a week. It can affect our job. We might lose our job over it. We might not be able to pay our rent if we're paying things, if we have a week-to-week paycheck. So we have to pick our battles. And when you're dealing with a narcissist, you can't tug at their heartstrings. You can't say, but you know, I've been looking forward to this, and it is my weekend, and he's looking forward to it. You know, can't you just let him come with me? They don't tie into our emotions. They don't care about our emotions, and that can trickle down to the kid. So as far as, is the ex a narcissist? Hard to say. It's hard to say. There's different types of mental illness or issues people have that cause them to react this way, but it is narcissistic. And in that moment, they're in that triggered state. When people are in a triggered state, a lot of times they turn narcissistic, even if they're not usually. So the closer you are to someone, the more hurt they can feel. And when people feel hurt, they can lash out too. So it is a manipulation tactic, or it is a punishment tactic, but pick your battles. Don't allow them to build up a case against you. Take it to court and follow the judicial process, because it's a civil matter. It's not your matter. If she's not working with you, then you have to follow the chain of command, basically. And the police will not forcibly remove the child. They won't do that. They will refer it to the civil. Now, if there's some extreme danger where the child is being physically abused, where you can see it, they might intervene. But that's not an emergency situation. If she spanked the kid, they're not going to take the kid away for that. So if you guys have any questions on that, I'd love to help you on, you know, protecting yourselves. You know, if it's too dangerous to go to the other person's house, you might want to set up where you can find a public place to meet, whether it's at a McDonald's or a police station. The better the lighting, the better it is. Or have some trusted adult do the exchange. Be really careful not to have your new love interest do that. That can cause more problems than it's worth. Some court orders have where the other party can't have a new person, new supply in the mix. Some can. So know what your court order is. If you are going through a divorce or a custody battle right now, you are going to want to make sure that you know times, days, holidays, rotations, medical information, what is to be released, what is required by the other party, what needs to be discussed, how it's going to be discussed, what as far as the schooling, about education, what do they need to provide you, or what is it that you need to provide to the other parent? As far as the emergency contacts, or who the child is allowed to be released to. Also your medical things, and get down to things like dental. It's up to you guys too about, you could add haircuts, things like that. They can add that if you would like. But he also has, his son was just put on some medication, and I believe it's something for like ADHD. I don't know. That's me assuming. I don't think it's insulin. I think it's something behavioral. And he's upset because she didn't discuss it. Now, there are contraindications, which are side effects. And sometimes you do, as a parent, want to know what your child is going to be prescribed. Are there other avenues? So maybe you can say, that it needs to be discussed, or in emergency situations, or under, to where you need to have, any type of medication, unless it's life-threatening, to where there can be a delay to discuss it. Now, if it's something where the kid has to have an emergency surgery, or like an EpiPen, if they're gonna have anaphylactic shock from allergies, things like that, it's like, no, we don't need to discuss it. Get that to him, save his life. Don't give him more fuel to the fire, because she could build up a case against him. And even though it's not fair, even though he's a good dad, and hopefully they work it out. I suggested that he contact the police department through the non-emergency, see if there'll be police officers that could be a peace officer, and hopefully it'll cause her to change her mind. Supposedly the child is at a sitter, so I asked if he could, if there's a way. Now, this is where it gets tricky, because she's saying that he's harassing her. So he really should kind of let it go, because you only have to tell the person once, and they will see it as an agent acting on your behalf, kind of like a flying monkey kind of thing, where if you ask your mom or your brother or your girlfriend, boyfriend, not a good idea, coworker, whatever, to, hey, can you just call her and just say, look, I'll come get her and drop him, and I'll drop him off to the dude. That can still be seen as harassment, because you got those flying monkeys, is pretty much what it is. It's an agent working on your behalf, and it can be seen as still you harassing. They would see it as you harassing through that person. Also, like emails and texts. Sometimes they're like, all right, I won't call them, but I'm sending one more text. Be careful sending one more text, because those are seen and can be seen as harassing. Very, very important to take this to heart. When you're dealing with people, especially toxic people, try not to act emotionally, but act logically. Is it smart to continue to talk to her? I know it can be a criminal charge. Do I have any recourse? Is there anything that I can do? Yes, but not now. I have to go through the civil courts. So look at the big picture. Look at the safest way, the best way to handle the situation. Giving up a weekend, even though it's not fair, is better than spending time incarcerated for something that is so wrong. So your feelings are valid. You have every right to have that court order followed. But once you start getting those emotions involved, it can turn against you. And that is a very, very important thing that I really need you guys to understand. When you act in your emotions, it can show the court that you're unstable. They're not going to see it as you're frustrated. They're going to see it as you're unstable, unpredictable, not able to follow rules, unruly. So share this. If you know somebody can help, feel free to ask further questions. I have one-on-ones available. Topic requests are always welcome. Stay safe. And it's sad how narcissists will often use kids as manipulation tools. It's hard, but I'm here to help you as much as I can.